I got a problem with black people that go to white churches.
Okay.
And
I'll,
yeah,
yeah,
let me put it out there
yeah.
because you never see it in the reverse.
True.
You never see it in the
True.
reverse. And what I say to
True.
friends of mine
True.
who go to them is that they'll let black people on the praise team, let black
Yep.
people on security,
Yep.
let black people preach, but there's never a black person
No.
in the finance room.
Ever. Ever. Ever.
That's my issue. I stand on
Ever.
that.
At ease, brothers. Now, when it comes to anybody on this planet, man, I think I am amongst those that are the most respectful of all religions, man. I think that a man should be able to worship and serve and participate in any religious service, connect himself to any religion, and be free to do that, man, without ridicule, without prosecution, right? And I normally don't touch religion. You know, in other words, I normally don't try to step on toes, man. But at some point, brothers, somebody has to say something. At some point, somebody has to say something, man. A lot of stuff we're doing and saying, y'all have to understand, man, that not only is it not normal, it's not of the highest order. It bothers me when a man associates himself with the creator and then speaks ignorance. At some point, something has to be said, man. So I'm thumbing through the gram the other day, man, and see brother minister Jamal Bryant making a comment about how he feels about, you know, certain members of the black congregations going to and participating in white churches. And I'll be honest, man, the first time I heard it, I had to play it again maybe 2 or 3 times because I was like, surely, goodness and mercy, I'm not hearing this leader of religion say what I think he's saying, right? You know, not that people don't think that. I understand that people think that, you know, or things associated with that. But when the leader, and I can only assume this brother has a large congregation. I didn't really know his name until now. I've seen his face, so I know he's a pretty well-known and respected minister. And I'm not even making this talking about him directly. Of course, I'm speaking about him because he's the one that said it, but I don't understand that the mentality that he's coming from is probably coming from the multitude of ministers. And it's like the first thing that comes across my mind is, like, do people still really think like this? Like, do people really think this is associated with God when they take their religion, when they take anything and start chopping it up? You're telling me that the man amongst the highest order of your religion is still speaking as if he's on a third grade playground, still talking about, okay, black people over here, white people over here, and you, that's the thing, you still associate yourself with that religion? I wouldn't associate myself with anything that separates me from the other people on the other side of the tracks that are doing the same thing. In other words, if I'm blood in California, but I can't go chop it up with the Bloods in Florida, I don't want to be a part of it. If I'm Crips, if I'm Republican, if I'm you know, anything, and I can't go associate with brothers that are identifying with the same thing on the other side of the planet, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. And it just intrigues me, man, that people that say, you know what, I'm a believer and God is good and dancing on church pews and speaking in tongues and doing all this stuff, in the back of their minds, they're still saying, okay, I really don't like when people that have this shade of skin go over there to people that have a different shade of skin and worship in the exact same thing that I teach. Like there's no red flags that pops up in anybody's head when that's being said. And I know it's not. Because I'm looking at the comments and people are like, yeah, you right, speak it, Pastor, and all this other stuff. Some people I know in the comments. And it's like, bro, like now I understand why my circle is so small. the far majority of people, their minds are still closed off, man. It's like, do people still really connect? And I'm not just talking about anybody. I'm not talking about people that go around the world and speak hate or speak, racism or speak some against people across this, because I'm not talking about them people. I'm talking about people that associate themselves with source energy. They associate themselves with source energy. Y'all still haven't connected the dots yet? Like, y'all don't hear that kind of stuff and question it? I'm gonna tell you this, bro. Most of your pastors, most of your Christian leaders have no idea what they're talking about. Tell them Soul said it. Most of your Christian leaders, and when I say this is what I mean, brothers. Even in the very Bible they speak of, it talks about unity. The Bible that they speak of talks about unity. And you want to get on the World Wide Web and make a statement like when black people go to white churches, like, I feel some kind of way about that. I don't get it. Like what book are y'all preaching from? And y'all know how I feel about the Bible, but if this is the book that y'all are standing on, preaching up from every Sunday and saying this is the word of God, I have to ask myself, are y'all reading this book? Are y'all really reading it? John 17:20-23. And the glory which you gave me, I have given them, that they may be one, just as we are one. I in them and you in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that you have sent me and have loved me and loved them as you love me. The Bible teaches oneness from start to back. From beginning to end, from Genesis to Revelations, it preaches oneness. But most people are still getting on the pulpits of America speaking ignorance. They speak of a source, man, but I'm going to tell you, even the Bible says, y'all don't even know me. Like he said, there'll be many of people, man, that at the end of time, they'll say, you know what? Yeah, Jesus, I was on the pulpit taking 10% for you. I was doing this for you. I was doing all these things. Source Energy is going to say, man, you didn't even know me. Like you had no idea who I was. And I know this, man, just to be fair, I don't know this man personally. Just to be fair, I understand that was probably a few seconds clip out of an entire message. I understand those things could have taken place. But in that 30-second clip or however long it was, man, it was enough ignorance to stand alone. To stand alone, man. And I'm just saying this. I'm not saying nobody should not be Christian. I'm not saying nobody should not go to church. I'm not saying none of that stuff. All I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is like think. Like I always say, if the masses are doing it, you definitely have to question it. If the far majority of people are doing it, you definitely have to question it. And I'm not pointing directly at Pastor Jamal Bryant, because I'm sure, without even knowing, I'm sure that I can go to his website or YouTube or church and hear this brother spitting some wisdom, some sorts of wisdom. I'm sure I can, right? But you got to understand, man, that if our leaders are talking ignorance, it's dangerous, man. It's dangerous. Somebody has to say something about it. Somebody has to say something about it, man. And then when you think about it, man, it's like when I say it's really just ignorant rhetoric, you have to ask yourself, it's like when somebody makes a statement like that, do they ever ask themselves? In other words, if a person is saying, I dislike when black Christians go to the other side of the tracks and have the exact same worship the exact same God, put Jesus on the cross and the whole shebang, just like me. I hate when they go across the tracks and do it. Does anybody ever say, hey, where did our people even get this religion? But because that's really when the ignorance kicks in. for a man to make a statement like that when the whole religion was given to him by the same people he's saying he don't want his brothers and sisters to go worship with. Like, what do you think your great whatever grandfather got Christianity from? I'll tell you where he got it from, Brother Jamal Bryant and others that think like that. He got it from the man that was beating him across his head, that was cutting his back, that was castrating him, that was mishandling his women, that was trading his children. That's where he got it from. Like that's how he became Christian. So it's like the whole scope of the conversation is just like making my brain do some crazy things. It's like, first off, if you're connecting yourself with source, then how do you even think separation? And then when you get to the whole root cause of what you're saying, it's like, man, it's even 10 times more ignorant understanding that it came from over there. So it's like all I'm saying, brothers, man, I don't even know what I'm saying, bro. I shouldn't even have to be saying this. All I'm saying is, man, at some point, people have to start thinking. People have to start saying to themselves, man, just because everybody else is doing it, just because mom and daddy doing it, just because I grew up seeing grandmama and them doing all these things in religious services, don't make it right. And again, like I said before, I think every single man should be free to go and worship and be respected in his worship. Respecting it. And I respect Christianity. I respect Islam. I respect all of them. Because when you really get down to the root of it, a lot of it is just different people's perspective on how to get to God. A lot of them have the same foundation. It's just like the rituals and bells and whistles that came over the years is what contaminated. But most religions are searching toward that one source. So I'm not saying one is great, one is. I'll say this though. If there are 7 billion, almost 8 billion people on the planet right now, I personally feel there should be 8 billion different religions. Meaning, of course, a person may go and worship with XYZ. I might go to Christian services on Sunday. I might go to Juma on Friday. I might go to Mass and all these other things. But when it comes down to it, I'm my own religion. Like my relationship with Source is so personal. There's no way I could put an identity or a label on it. If you aren't moving like that, brother, you have to question if you really have a connection with Source, because there's no way in the world I would associate with something where people on the other side of the bridge or the water or the tracks are speaking things like that. There's no way in the world I would say I'm a this, and then a brother like Brother Jamal or any other brothers are saying, okay, well, I dislike, or whatever he said. I don't really care about black people to go over there. I would be like, bro, that don't represent me. Like, remove this label from me, bro. All I'm saying, brothers, is this. Think, go deeper, question everything, question everybody. Question everybody, man. It's cool to have religious and spiritual leaders and circles and followings and go to churches and attend this and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, it's you and Source. Screw a middleman. It is you and Source. And if your relationship with God, I'll say God, the universal term. If your relationship with God isn't direct, brother, you in trouble. If your relationship with God has to get approval through going through some sheikh, some minister, some bishop, if your approval and your prayers and all this stuff and your thoughts have to get verified by somebody, you can't go straight to the source, brother. I'm telling you this, man. You are in trouble. You are in trouble. You are in trouble as far as finding that peace you're looking for. That peace and fulfillment, brother, if you have to go through something, brothers, you got to understand this, man. And you really have to understand why this bothers me so much. It bothers me so much, man, because I understand if I don't know anything else on this planet, I understand that the truest relationship with source is when a man gets to the point where all is one. Well, if a man doesn't see that all is one, and I'm not just talking about a black man on this side of the streets, white man on this side of the streets, people from different countries. I'm not talking about just all is one, meaning there is nothing that separates anything from anything else. When I can understand that me as a human being separates me from, not even separates me from this mic. When I can understand that all is one, you know what I'm saying? That's when you can really begin to connect with source. If you don't understand that all is one, like when the brother asked me a few weeks ago, and I talked about it in this video, when he said, hey, what is God? I said, God is the manifestation of everything that is and the creative power of everything that's not, the ether. Meaning there's nothing that's not God. And when a man understands that and he can attach himself to everything, he's now crossing the threshold of understanding what that energy is. But when I get online and say, you know what, I dislike I dislike people on the other side of the globe that dress like this. I dislike people that pray a certain way. I dislike people because their skin is a certain shade. I dislike people because they worship the same thing as I do, and they want to go worship on the other side of the city with people that don't look like me. Do y'all understand that's dividing? You're actually supporting, if there is an enemy, because the enemy is really ourselves, but that's actually supporting the wrong agenda. And the masses will sit there and say hoorah, not understanding, man, that they're walking in darkness, walking in ignorance, man. Walking in ignorance. And the thing is, I understand that this level of ignorance is being spoken every single Sunday, all across the globe, every single Wednesday night, every single revival. Every single Easter is being spoken on a regular basis, man. And people are just falling deeper and deeper and deeper into this sleep. And then when people are saying, you know what, I just can't find peace. Like I'm going to church, I'm paying my 10%, I'm doing all these good things. It's like, yeah, but you're still separating yourself from everything else. Like, I don't believe a man can truly find peace and fulfillment until he's connected to that. He can try. He can try and he can get close. But to get fulfillment, man, where you can actually see, you know, what I like to call the face of God, but you have to get to a point where you can't see anything separate from yourself. You have to get to the point, man, where you will even see those that are against you and love them. That's a hard place to get to, bro. Not saying you have to bow down to them. Not saying you might not have to take them out. But your foundation is a place of love. When you're finally able to see the world through the lens of God, you truly understand, brothers.